歡迎各位嚟到家國生活直播室咧，有幾位嘉賓啊，包括Honourable Mary Ng，佢係我哋康山嘅 Federal MP，即係國會議員，佢亦都係 Minister of International Trade，亦都係 Minister of Small Business 同埋 Export Promotion。另外兩位嘉賓咧，又包括Ben Leung梁萬邦啦，係 GTA 或者大多倫多華商會嘅統籌啦。喺另外一位嘉賓就 Pius Chan 咧，佢係 Vancouver 嘅 Federation of Commerce of Canada 嘅 National Chair。咁Ben，我哋今日訪問Mary，咁你可唔可以 go ahead？Mary，
歡迎你參加我哋今日嘅節目，好榮幸你能夠撥時間俾我哋，或者你同我哋嘅聽眾新年時候講幾好嘅説話先好唔好？
好 Ben， 今日好開心可以同你見面，大家新年快樂，to everybody Happy New Year。Happy
New Year。
健康最緊要健康啊！我哋大家開開心心，
真係健康。
有冇乜嘢補充先？如果唔係，我哋就可以開始。
我哋開始啦，或者嚇。
係啦，其實咧，聯邦政府咧喺舊年3月份咧係好英明地好快速咧，就做咗好多決定。當疫情一出現咗之後咧，咁就推出咗好多唔同嘅項目出嚟，無論係大型商業、小型嘅商業或者個人都好咧，都有好多幫忙我哋。最近而家繼續延續緊咧，就仲有一個 WS 即係工資嘅補貼啦，同埋一個 CRS 租金嘅補貼。但係我想知道咧，個疫情一直咁樣咧，都仲係嚴重落去啦。我唔知聯邦政府喺一個咁大嘅開支之下，如果呢幾樣嘅幫助都幫唔到我哋小型嘅企業，聯邦政府就冇乜嘢any other program that can assist small business to recover because this pandemic is prolonged for a while already. So I'd like to see Minister give some idea for us.
Yeah, Ben, that's a very, very important question, especially for you and Pius. I mean, representing so many Canadian businesses and Canadian Chinese-owned businesses. Right from the very beginning, the government was very clear. We were going to do whatever it took to support Canadians and our businesses through this. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We are going to see an end to COVID-19. There will be, and there are vaccines that are getting rolled out across Canada. But in the meantime, it is really important that our businesses continue to get the support that they need. And you already talked about them. I mean, I talk to businesses across the country all the time. And when we heard from businesses right at the very beginning, and, you know, for me as well, I also was thinking as the small business minister, I mean, for me growing up here, in a small business, my own parents' small business, I thought to myself, my goodness, what would have happened to my own family at that time had this hit? And there's some very, you know, so our programs are on the one hand, comprehensive, but they boil down to this for small businesses: help you with your payroll so that you can keep your people employed, so that you're not laying off your people as best as you can. Helping with that liquidity support, with lending support, so that if you've got some working capital that you need, or just managing your expenses, so through small business loans, but also larger loans. We just announced in the fall economic statement that we are going to be putting out low interest loans, 100% guaranteed by the federal government, loans of up to $1 million for those businesses that need it. And then the last thing is fixed cost support, and particularly in rent. I mean, think about all of our communities. When you walk down the street right now, our businesses are closed, certainly here in the Greater Toronto area, and thank you to the businesses, because they're doing everything they can to keep people safe by closing their doors, but they are hard hit. So making sure that they get some money to pay for the rent. So our lockdown support for some businesses who are experiencing significant decline, they can get their rent paid up to 90%. So lockdown support, fixed cost support in that rent, wage subsidy to help keep your people on payroll, and some liquidity support in loans. Those is in the big category of the work that we've continued to do. But I continue to meet with organizations like yours, with chambers, with business organizations, with businesses directly. And I have I keep my ear close to the ground, listening to what businesses need. The point about these programs is to bridge us until we get to the other side of COVID-19. It's to give our businesses that lifeline. It's that lifeline of support to, beyond COVID-19. And that's what our government set out to do, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Yeah, I also heard that our resources not unlimited, and we never know when this pandemic will be ended. So that's why see if our federal government still have the strength to hold on for the small business or medium business till end of the year or sometime next year. Is it possible to hold on financially?
I think that I think the way to think about this is, what if the government doesn't do anything? What happens to our economy then? What happens to our businesses then? What happens to the families that these businesses support in jobs then? So that is not the decision that this government has taken. We came into this pandemic, Canada, with a very strong fiscal position. We had the lowest debt to GDP ratio. And the supports that we have put out is what we as a government believe needs to be in place to help Canadians get through this period, and these businesses that continue to be supported during this period to bridge the other side. We are going to be in a better position on economic recovery by supporting them, because imagine if the government doesn't do anything, and that's just not an option.
Very true. 都講得好啱啦。如果政府唔出嚟借錢，就係我哋自己國民出嚟借錢。我哋借錢嘅能力低，我哋俾個利息高，政府借咗錢，佢擔保俾我哋生意嘅人。咁好希望呢筆錢咧係真係落到需要嘅人嘅手上邊啦。咁同埋咧亦都知道個疫情我哋冇人知道會幾耐完㗎。咁好希望就係嗰個疫苗盡快出到嚟啦。咁我知道啦，喺舊年年尾啦。Federal 個 economic statement 講得好清楚，如果嗰個經濟開始 recover 嘅時候，Federal government 會有100個 billion dollars， 即係1000億咧推出嚟咧，係幫助整個加拿大嘅經濟咧重新納入翻正軌嘅。咁我想清楚知道有冇一啲大概 any framework that how this $100 billion to spend to create or to promote economy?
Yeah, that's really important. We want to be clear with Canadians that that the work that the government is doing is to support them through this time and to get us on that road to economic recovery, so that Canadians understand that there is that is the direction of the government. We want to be sure that during COVID-19, here's what we actually also saw. We saw the cracks that existed in the system for those that are the most vulnerable, for example, or we saw that that women entrepreneurs, and I'll spend a second here. Women entrepreneurs or female-owned businesses, they wear under normal times wear many hats, and during COVID-19, that many more hats. And making sure that we put a plan together that builds the foundation for universal childcare is extremely important, because it actually contributes to the economic prosperity and the economic well-being of the country. So for sure, we're going to make some investments to ensure that that a national childcare program will be out there, so that we can create greater productivity and among women-led businesses, making sure that there is investments for our young people, and ensuring that there is prosperity and a pathway on recovery for young people, ensuring that there's a green recovery, all of us are looking at how Canada can be even more competitive and continues to be competitive in those areas of the new economy, one of which is fighting climate change, and making sure that in recovery there are initiatives that will help growth in that way. We've already said that we are committed to creating 1 million jobs. We need to create 1 million jobs to be able to get back on that recovery, and to ensure that Canadians get the jobs that will help the economic growth of our country.
Yeah， 我哋講咗好多都係關於 internally 加拿大可以做啲咩嘢咧。其實加拿大係一個 trading nation 嚟㗎，我哋嘅出口都好緊要。或者 Paris 咧可以呢個時候咧問我哋嘅伍部長有啲乜嘢嘢喺 internationally 我哋個加拿大可以做啲咩嘢？Paris 麻煩你。
Thank you, Mr. Ng. One thing I want to mention is Canada is a trading country because 2/3 of our GDP is coming from trading with international other countries. And the number one country is certainly US. We export more than 75% of our trading to US. And EU is second with 8%, and China is third with 3.9%. Right now, with the new administration from the US coming in, what do you anticipate? Is it going to be a better scenario for us with the less aggressive American first type president in place? Biden will be probably softer and friendlier to Canada, I hope. And that's number one. Number two is because the new administration will focus more in economic, in the green technology, climate change side. That's sort of in line with our government as well, thinking wise. So is there any progress that are being made to that area? And number three is China is a very important subject to talk about because China, we are hoping that China will become one of the trading nation that we have that we can diversify to, because we're selling a lot of natural resources in oil, lumber, and agriculture products, seafood, and so far. And China is one of the countries that can be one of our great buyers. But since 2018, in December, with the Wenmanjiao case, there have been some issues with our partnering in political side, which impact our business side as well. So what do you anticipate that can the government, our federal government, do something to improve the relationship and help the business trading to go back into the former glory?
Well, those are really important questions. So let me try to sort of do them one by one. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
For that. You're absolutely right. Canada is a trading country. And the reason I have the portfolio of both small business and export promotion, but international trade, is because 99% of our businesses are small and medium-sized businesses.
Yes.
Yet only 12% of our businesses are exporting today. And of that, as you said, to our largest trading partner, which is south of the border. And yet Canada has access to over 65% of the world's economy through our existing trade agreements, right? We have access to 1.5 billion customers just in just in some of our multilateral trade agreements in the very, very important economic zones of the world. So, we've got, of course, the new NAFTA, or what we call CUSMA here, in North America, that gives us access to the trading, the trading bloc of North America. We have access to the European Union through CETA, that gives us access to 500 million customers. And with the United Kingdom exiting the EU, we have a continuity trade agreement. I'm looking forward to getting back to the negotiating table to get a new agreement with the UK. We also have the CPTPP that gives Canadian businesses access to markets like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, but almost a dozen countries there. Another 500 million customers in those blocks. So the work that the really important work that that the Prime Minister has given to me to do is to make sure that I increase our trading for our small and medium-sized businesses, help them become more export ready so that they can take advantage of those very important agreements that we have with countries and customers in those countries, so that we can improve those bilateral and multilateral trade. So that's number one, increasing our trade overall, and then diversifying that into those markets beyond the United States. Speaking of the United States, Canada and the US have a unique relationship. We are friends and we are neighbors. We are looking very forward to working with the Biden administration. Yes, we have commonality around our pursuit of tackling climate change, and in doing so, absolutely growing the green recovery and the green solutions that ultimately will not only be good for the planet and for climate change, but also for our economic, for both, for jobs and for people in both countries. So we're really looking forward to that work with our friends and neighbor south of the border. And with respect to China, on that last point, as the international trade minister, I mean, my job is to make sure that I support businesses, all Canadian businesses, whether they're working domestically or they're working abroad, and it includes supporting those businesses that are operating in China. We have the presence of terrific trade commissioners who are continuing to support our businesses across the way. But the Canadian government's priority right now is very much working on securing the release of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. That is a top priority for Canada and for Canadians. It is really important that we bring our Canadians home. And that's what the government is seized with. Canada's trade policy, it's always going to be motivated. It always has, and it always will be motivated by what is in the interest of Canadians, and it must be. So I'm going to continue working with Canadian businesses as we look to help them continue to not only prosper here and certainly get through COVID onto that road to recovery, but also help them pursue those markets. I just did the very first ever, just right before the holidays, the very first ever virtual trade mission. We have to adapt as well. I'm not going to let COVID-19 get in the way of helping support our businesses. So we had to find new modalities. Doing a virtual trade mission, we did a first one, the first ever to South Korea. I'm looking forward to doing more. I just think that we need to try and we need to keep doing these efforts so that we are helping our Canadian businesses.
Thank you so much, Minister Ng. I know your time's almost far more than you're generous. Give us the time on the show. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much. And hopefully that in the future, if you have time, we can share your insight about our Canadian economy and especially on the small business side. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm very looking forward to that. Thank you, Pius. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
It was really wonderful to be here, and I would always welcome coming back. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah? So really appreciate. So come back more. Thank you, Mary.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. See you soon.
See you
Okay.
soon.